Imagine you're told that you now have something that is called a stand. And after they tell you that, they just leave. They don't give you any instructions or anything like that. And you activate your stand and you think it's pretty strong, but you have no fucking clue how to use it. That's why we always have to appreciate some of the best stand users that we have in this series. And in my eyes, in some way, you can equate the best with the smartest. That's not necessarily what we're doing here, but you can see where it leads up to. Today we have the smartest stand users. 2. And getting straight into it, we have Josuke Higashikata. Now, I didn't talk about Josuke in the last video about stand users because I have been talking about Josuke mighty a lot, you know. Even though he's my favorite character, I don't have a problem with yapping about him for minutes and minutes on end, but I like to mix it up, maybe give a few other characters that don't get talked about as much a little bit of love. But Josuke Higashikata has always been such an insane stand user. I don't know how much longer I can just ignore his presence of how smart he is when it comes to the use of stands. Now, it was obvious from the start, once we found out he was the son of Joseph Joestar, Josuke would be smart as shit, especially when it comes to fights and things of that sort. But man, just look back. Like, even look back to when he punched his own mother through the stomach. He only did that because he knew the stand that he was dealing with travels straight into the body so that they can essentially kill you from the inside. So he, in a split second, not only punched the hole through her, on the way out, he had already restored it. So by the time his hand is back here, the stand's in the bottle, and his mom didn't even know. Or as someone said in the last video, like in the comment section of my last video talking about the smartest stand users, Crazy Diamond literally took the ink off of paper. Do you know how crazy that is? No pun intended. Like, he took his restoration powers to a new level, to a new height that I don't think I had seen someone who's supposed to be like the group healer do that. You know, because in basic terms, in basically almost any other story where Josuke isn't the main character, he's literally just the group healer. You know, he would still be ridiculously strong, don't get me wrong, but he would be the group healer. But here he was moving. Like, you even have times when he literally couldn't stop moving, like when Highway 13 was chasing him. I always bring this up. He took apart the fucking bike and put it together. That's just so ridiculous. Doing that while you're midair, right? Jumps off the bike midair. Bike is broken apart just so he wouldn't run into a fucking stroller. A baby stroller.
This motherfucker don't miss.
No, he's fucking good.
That motherfucker don't miss, man.
Like, the average Josuke plot was literally just him just trying to think of what random way can I figure a way out of this. And it worked 90% of the time, even when he was fighting Kira. When Kira was blowing stuff up, this man picks up a random shard of glass. I think it had his blood on it. It was like a shard of glass with his blood on it, and sent it right back to him. Do you know how crazy that is? And on top of that, Josuke has a way of incapacitating his like criminals without necessarily killing them, just leaving them with a life of unrest, which is fusing them with random things. Angelo got fused with a rock. I'm pretty sure someone else got fused with a chair. I think. It was something. But knowing Josuke, it's the fact Josuke could, if he wanted to, theoretically, fuse you to this fucking bookshelf if he wanted to. Okay, up next we got Enrico Pucci. I be putting Pucci in so many of these lists, but it's so worth it because whenever I really sit there and actually think about the context of Pucci's life, and you think about all the stuff that he accomplished, even with Whitesnake, you're like, oh, you cannot sleep on Pucci. Because I see some people hating on Whitesnake, and honestly, I was one of those people. I was one of those people that said Whitesnake was weaker, which, don't get me wrong, I still think Whitesnake isn't that strong, but it was strong enough to defeat a freshly powered up and very angry Weather Report, you know. So I have to give him that. I have to give him that. Whitesnake is a one-hit, it's a one-hit stand, so I have to give him that. But Pucci has the title as probably one of the only men to ever outsmart Jotaro Kujo, especially Jotaro Kujo past part 3. Now, if you outsmarted him during part 3 and you're one of the side villains that worked under Dio, okay, I'll give you that, you know. by the time we get to the end of part 3 and on, I don't know, you're pretty much not outsmarting Jotaro like that. You know, you could say Kira got one over on him when he sent his sub-stand after them. But even then, if Jotaro wanted to, he deadass could have just threw that bitch out the window during time stop or something to that effect. Even though he himself probably wouldn't stop it fully, he wouldn't need to. But Pucci planned out an attack, and not only did he plan it, he executed it perfectly to the point where he knew at every step Jotaro would be glancing and looking at his daughter, making sure she didn't get hurt or even killed. And while that was happening, even in time stop, Jotaro admitted, damn, this nigga outplayed me. Because he turned around and he just sees White Snake manifesting right there. And then that other stand that, what was his name, John A, I think had, just sitting up at the top. And you also gotta look at like the situations Pucci puts himself in and White Snake in. It was very few times that I can say that I've seen Jolene actually get her hands on Pucci himself, because Pucci is not fighting you, especially when he finds out you're strong enough to really rival him. He knew that Jolene could probably beat White Snake, because when they did have that little altercation and he started getting a little cocky because Jolene was handcuffed, Jolene low-key put the works on him so bad to the point where, and this is where the smart part comes in, he tossed a replica of Jotaro's disc. That right there was enough alone to make Jolene stop hitting Pucci and go chasing the disc. But even with that, he knew that with Jolene distracted, now is the perfect time to go after the rest of the group. That's why when he shows up again, but this time he's disguised, I think he was disguised as weather report, it makes so much sense. Bro showed up and just impaled both of them, because it tricked both of them. Foo Fighters and Anasui tricked both of them, leaving Jolene to be the only person that was still currently up. Because if y'all don't remember, Hermes was also currently out because she had beat her sister's killer, but he had did a low-key number on her. So that would mean in the span of maybe 30 or 45 minutes, he had done enough to get away from enough members, to get away or deal with enough members to the point where it left him and Jolene on a 1v1. And even though he lost that 1v1 with Jolene and gave her father stand disc back, by this point he was already, the plan was basically already in motion. And all he had to do was just grab the green baby, which is what he did. And he fused. Like, a lot of Pucci's strategies reminded me of Dio's, except the difference between Pucci and Dio, Pucci is not super overly confident like Dio. Pucci's a lot more grounded in logic and like, yeah, I'm just finna kill you right here. We ain't even playing those games. I already know how dangerous you are. It's honestly blasphemous to make 2 parts of this video and not include Giorno Giovanna, so I have to include him in this last spot right here, because the more I think about it, the more I realized that Giorno was such a menace with his stand that I just forgot how smart he was with it. Listen, bro, even the basics of Golden Experience should tell you how creative you could really get with that stand. You're telling me I could turn inanimate objects into living body parts or things, or I could turn them into other inanimate objects? I could turn body parts into inanimate object? What? Like, so you're saying if I punch the ground, a tree would come up? It would? Like, bro, his powers is so crazy, and it's the way he uses them. Like Popo, for example, the first guy, when he was trying to get into Passion, who had Black Sabbath, that big ass guy stuck in the jail. He turned his banana into a gun. And before he knew it, he had already blew his own brains out. Yo.
Fucker don't miss.
No, he's fucking good.
That motherfucker don't miss, man.
Imagine being one of the workers that has to clean that up the next day, and you're just like, well, we never gave him a gun. We didn't even allow anyone with a gun to walk in here. How did it? That just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Giorno is how it makes sense. He did it in such a way that not only could it just never be traced back to him, now his whole group is moving up because their leader is about to become a capo, taking the spot of the newly deceased one. Or we could talk about when he fashioned his own antidote to Fugo's stand. A stand that even troubles Fugo himself. A stand that Fugo himself could even die to. He made a fucking antidote for it. Do I need to remind y'all that he was 15 doing this? Oh, I can keep going too. There was a time when he just beat Malone and Babyface in that weird ass stand. And Malone was about to make a new, humongous baby that was going to be even better. And this time it would know about Giorno's powers and all that. Giorno sent a cube of the burning previous Babyface back to Malone, but the cube was in the form of a venomous snake that bit his tongue. That's just ridiculous. And that's how he died too, but that's still ridiculous. And that's part of the reason I call him the smartest. When you have a stand that is so destructive and dangerous that you can turn anything into something else. You know what I mean? You can literally turn anything into something else. You have a stand like that, you can't be fucked with. Especially when you're someone who's very creative and can use them in any ways you see fit. That's why I feel like Giorno is one of the top 3 probably smartest stand users. Because the way he uses his stand compared to how almost everyone else does, it's on a different level. You know, he has a stand, which is it's a part of the reason why I say it's a better version of Crazy Diamond. He has a stand that even though it does hurt when it heals, he can still heal himself. Josuke can't. But really, that's all I got for today. If y'all enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. You know, we're on the road to 5K, so anything helps. And until next time, peace.